cover all the good things that are new with the current version of NovaBACKUP, which can be packaged in kind of 4 different categories, starting with our new engine that is part of our platform, who provides significantly faster cloud backup. That then combined with new features of our centralized management, our backup management tool. On the local backup side, we put a lot of work into our image backup function, so that is now faster, but we've also simplified the process tremendously. And finally, on the cloud side, we enhanced the reachability of our data centers, so we made more data centers available, and we added some other new interesting features when it comes to supporting data in the cloud. So we'll diving into each of those sections now throughout the webinar and tell you a little bit more of that. And we'll also share some demos of some pieces. And we're starting with our new DataMover Engine, which uses the latest streaming technologies and compression algorithms to speed up backup to the cloud. So this kind of funky sounding sentence essentially just means that we've worked on how we handle data. How are we working through the data that needs to be backed up and sent to the backup storage? And we have made that a lot more efficient. So, which leading to a much faster backup to, in the first step today with this release, to the cloud, specifically for file backup, Hyper-V and SQL. But as we are moving forward with new features and as we are making them available in an agile manner, as I just said, we will merge all of our backup jobs and all the backup options that we have into the new engine. So all of our local and cloud backup jobs will go through the new DataMover Engine and benefit from those speed advancements. So what does this really mean for you? It actually means that the way we are working through the data throughout a backup job is significantly less effort, or means significantly less effort on your system and on your network. And with the enhanced speed and the higher data compression, meaning we're saving or we're backing up, or you will have less data on your storage medium, like all of this combined means that you can increase the number of your backups. And because the speed is not only increased for the backup, it's also increased for the recovery, you can get your data back much faster. So from a recovery point objective and recovery time objective, RPO and RTO, that is what backup is really about, right? Like, it's not about how good the software backs up your data. Sure, it needs to do that. But the really important part is, how quickly can you get your data back? How quickly can you get the system back that just, decided to go up in flames? How quickly can you get your customer's business up and running again if something happens, an individual system or everything that was there, depending on what happened. And that's what this engine really helps with. Nate, I want to hand it over to you real quick, because we actually ran some benchmarks with our beta testers and with our own systems, and we wanted to share a little bit with you and show you what that speed increasement actually means in reality.
Yeah, absolutely. So Justine is showing this benchmark here, and it shows just the tip of the iceberg on this. So this is a simple benchmark that we did, same machine, same everything, and this is all going to the cloud. And in the before column, this is our 19.8 data mover to the cloud, and the after is the new data mover that's going to the cloud. And it is just so significantly changed in the amount of speed, especially when you're talking about lots of small files and that type of thing, like that file backup that is 1.5 terabytes. I think that was somewhere around like 2 million files or something like that. And the new file, new data mover is just significantly faster when we're talking about going to the cloud. But something that's kind of under the hood here is, yeah, that's great for that first initial backup, but for all the subsequent backups, it's also doing it incremental forever. So that means that it's just going to send the new and changed parts of files and new files to the cloud. So it is, now we've always kind of done that in the cloud before, but we're also going to be bringing that to the local backups as Josephine also mentioned up above, in the future we'll handle all the backup jobs across local and cloud devices with the same DataMover. But when we did this, we also found some other ways to, how do we want to say, streamline some of the things that we were doing when we're doing those incremental backups to the cloud. So that is also significantly faster too for your incremental backups, and basically subsequent backups after that. So even though we've reduced a ton of time on the front end for that first initial backup, the full backup to the cloud, we've also reduced it on the subsequent backups too. So along with the recovery time has been decreased considerably because of the speed that we're able to do things now. That's pretty much all I had to say on that portion of it. Josephine, if you want to continue on that.
Thanks, Nate. Thanks for the detail on that. That is really helpful. With that, I'm moving on to the central management. Some of you who have been around for a while might know that as CMON, or central monitoring tool. While it's growing up now, it's really a central management tool now. You still have the access from anywhere capability because it's a web tool, so that definitely stays. You can still monitor all your backup jobs and backup statuses from the tool. What we've added now is the capability to create and update backup jobs without you having to be on site on the customer, or without you using TeamViewer to go onto the agent side and implement any backup job changes there. Everything is now handled from the central management. And then lastly, before I'm handing it back to Nate to show you what that looks like, the other great addition for the central management is we added a set of RESTful APIs that allows you to integrate that functionality into your own RMM tools. So as service providers, as resellers, as companies who work with a lot of other companies and supporting them on IT, you probably have a lot of other software that you use to monitor something. And this allows you now to consolidate our monitoring and management tool into your own combined monitoring option. So I'm switching it over really quickly to Nate so he can share his screen and show what the central management looks like.
Absolutely. So what we have here is the dashboard of the central management. Probably looks very familiar to people that have seen the CMON in the past, but we have changed some frameworks underneath and actually considerably sped it up on the back end. So we're scaling this to thousands of endpoints without any problem. So it is considerably scaled up. But some of the new features and functions that Josephine was talking about, let's go into that. So I'll go to agents and groups, and we'll just go into, let's say, Josephine's machine here. Let's go in here. It's going to give you all the details of that machine, the license, and everything else. Job history, so you can see what jobs have been done, along with devices. So this is also something that we added that is pretty new to the management platform itself, is the ability to add devices. So I can add, you know, an Amazon S3 compatible thing, a cloud device, network device. So like you can actually add the NAS devices directly in here without even having to go into the machine itself. And then I can go back in here. And like Josephine said, one of the major things that we did was add the ability to create jobs. So I can actually, you know, view this particular job that's there already. I can go in and create new jobs. So, you know, this will expand into her machine right here. I can say what particular device I want it to go to. I can change all the different settings and that type of thing. Something that we added as part of the new DataMover is the retention of the actual data that is in the cloud is actually job-based. So you can actually have multiple different jobs, multiple different retentions, all going to the same cloud device. But in here, I can say, hey, I want, you know, maybe my daily job to keep 30 days worth of different versions there. Whereas, hey, I want my, you know, monthly job or what have you to keep, 5-7 years or what have you in here, and I can do that all within the job itself without having to create different retention jobs or anything like that. So it's very, very streamlined in creation of that backup job, along with ongoing maintenance and that type of thing. Those are the main things that we added to the central management with this release, but we're adding a lot more in the upcoming months, and that we should be, since we're going to such an agile type approach, it'll be adding as we get those functions and features done. With that, I will pass it back to Josephine.
Great demo, awesome. And if you want to see more detail, or if you want to have a comprehensive demo of the central management, feel free to reach out to us or let us know through the question and answers. Then we see that you're interested in that, and we are happy to set that up as well. Our next topic goes back to the local backup. We wanted to talk a little bit about image backups for disaster recovery. One of the things here is similar to our DataMover engine. For image backups, we adjusted how we handle the data for the image backup, leading to similar speed improvements that we're seeing while creating the image for the disaster recovery. And we added one-step incremental and differential image backups that can go to a VHD or VHTX storage, so you can immediately recover your system using Hyper-V. And again, we're having a demo of that real quick too, to show you what it actually looks like in the system, if that little screenshot is not enough. So I'm handing it back to Nate again to show you a little bit more about that image backup capability.
Perfect, yeah. So I'm just opening up NovaBACKUP here. I will go into our image backup portion. And we're going to go into the scheduling portion of image backup. If you're familiar with the software already, you're going to notice this looks a little bit different, because what it's doing right now, instead of asking you a bunch of questions, it's saying basically, what do you want to back up? I'm just going to back up my entire drive here. Then I go here, normal thing, create your name, where I want it to go, that type of thing. But here's where we've changed a lot and changed the workflow quite a bit. So the backup type. So this is the NovaBACKUP image, is the typical image that you've always loved and known, where it's going into a proprietary format that you can do the recovery from and that type of thing. But we've also added the ability to just go straight to VHD, VHDX. And with this, I can say, hey, I want to do like a full differential or something like that. So I can put this to, say, like a Buffalo Windows storage server box that has Hyper-V on it. And all of a sudden, I'm backing up to that Buffalo box as a VHDX, and I can bring up that machine as a VM in Hyper-V directly from in there. And in this case, I can say, hey, I want to create a new full version every 7 differential, and say keep the last, say, 2 fulls and 14 differentials. So you can go very, very complicated if you want here, but it's all in one screen, and you don't have to create multiple jobs to do full and incremental or full and differential or anything like that. So we tried to streamline and simplify this as much as we could to make it easier for you to deploy this to your customers. That's pretty much what I wanted to go over on this, Josephine, if you want to take it back.
Thank you. All right, and then from local, we are moving into the cloud, and we're talking about cloud backup. We had a data center, or we have a data center in the US and in Canada for a while now, but we added one now in Germany. So for all of you who are located in Europe and wanted to leverage our cloud backup functionality too, but didn't want to quite use the US data center, this is now your chance. And as you know, Germany has some of the strictest regulations when it comes to privacy and how data has to be handled. And we're meeting all of them with our data center in Germany. So no worries about anything. It's all of our data centers are HIPAA, GDPR, DSGVO, FedRAMP, whatever compliant, because we can't even look at your data, right? So one of the biggest things that helps with the compliance of that. I know there are a lot of other topics, but just to summarize it on one of the most important ones is we are encrypting the data fully, and that already on the agent side. So before it's even moving anywhere, the data is encrypted. So it's going to be encrypted while it's moving into the cloud and then on the cloud itself as well. Something very important here, there's no backdoor for us. So please always remember your password for your encryption or your encryption key, because if that's gone, there's nothing for us to do. We cannot get back into your data once it's encrypted, which that's what we want, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that is what we want to ensure, that no one can access your data without the relevant password for it. The data centers themselves are fully secured. They have all the relevant certifications to be compliant with the US, Canada, and European regulations. And then when it comes to like offering the cloud storage to you, we wanted to keep it really simple. We didn't want to make it complicated. That's why we're not adding any ingress or egress fees. We're not adding any API request fees, any of that, whatever is out there, none of that. The only thing we charge for in the NovaBACKUP Cloud is the gigabyte actually stored in the cloud. As you've heard Nate a little bit about it during the DataMover Engine part, and myself, that data is compressed. We improved the compression for that. So what's actually stored on there on the cloud is that compressed data. And then, yeah, making it very easy for you to see how much is on there, and that's what we charge against on the monthly basis. So super simple. There's not really much more to say. I don't know, Nate, if you want to add anything here.
No. One thing that you did mention that kind of reminded me of something is we, with the new data mover, we did change our compression algorithm quite a bit, and it's almost 10% more efficient than so it's like 7 or 8% through all the tests that we saw. So it was already pretty good when you're talking about going to the cloud, but it adds another 7 or 8% compression to it is pretty significant when you're talking about large amounts of data. So that is something to consider also.
Great, awesome. And then when we talk about cloud, there's one more feature or one more add-on that we're making available, and that is Microsoft 365 Backup and Archive. And we added that because Microsoft actually leaves it to you to figure out how you back up or how you protect your data. So by using our solution, you can make sure that your data in the cloud is as protected as your data that is locally on the machines. And with the NovaBACKUP Microsoft 365 add-on, you can back up emails, Teams, groups, calendars, SharePoint, all those applications that are available with Microsoft 365, and you can even recover them on a granular level. One thing that is interesting, so there are two options for the Microsoft 365 add-on. One is a backup only function, so you back up all your Microsoft 365 data, or there's a backup and archive function that then allows you, in addition to the backup functionality, it allows you to create things like audit logs or compliance tags and all those things that are relevant from a keeping your data perspective. So all of these features are available. And since this cloud data is backed up into a cloud, again, those data centers are fully secure, are fully compliant, same as our NovaBACKUP Cloud. So no issues there as well when it comes to just the protection of the data and the security of the data that is being backed up.
I do want to add one quick thing on here because from an admin point of view, it's really nice that, and we actually use it quite a bit. So, I mean, we use the software in-house. We were on Microsoft 365 or Office 365 or whatever Microsoft's calling it today. But one of the things I really like is the ability to search for something, or I want to say, hey, give me everything in my mailbox that is in my mailbox a year and before. So basically within 2021, give me everything that I received in 2021. I can actually export that to a PST file and download that. This is also great for when you're offboarding customers and that type of thing. So it's a really slick way to actually manage and back up your Office 365 environment.
Great. And with that, we shared a lot about all the new features that we are covering with this release.